Thank you so much, Antara, and good evening, everyone. It's an honor for me to be here this evening in this August gathering. And I quote from Mahatma Gandhi as I begin this session. So as Mahatma Gandhi had said in one of his letters long time ago, the handloom weaving is in a dying condition. And he concluded by saying, the handlooms ought not to be allowed to perish. So I take my cue from the latter part of the quote and reaffirm that we will not allow it to be so. They are a legacy which we carry, and each one of us here has grown up seeing our mothers and grandmothers drape those marvelous yardage from the loom. So it is our responsibility that we instill the same into our children and their children too. So the river of dreams continue. After all, that is what the weavers weave for us. They weave their dreams on the loom, on every piece of cloth that we wear. And before I introduce our august guest this evening, let me quote these lines from Sarojini Naidu. She had written, "Weavers weaving at break of day, why do you weave a garment so gay? Blue as the wing of a halcyon wild, we weave the robes of a newborn child. Weavers weaving at fall of night, why do we weave a garment so bright? Like the plumes of a peacock, purple and green, we weave the marriage veils of a queen. Weavers weaving solemn and still, what do you weave in the moonlight chill? White as a feather and white as a cloud, we weave a dead man's funeral shroud." So that is what Sarojini Naidu had said years back. The weavers weave the life of a person. So our life is in the hands of the weavers, and it is for us to keep them alive, the weaves alive. So without much ado, I introduce our guest this evening. But you all have seen her in a previous occasion. So in a previous session, we had the opportunity to learn about the lesser known weaves like the Kodali Karupur with Mrs. Sabita Radhakrishna, who is here with us today. And she talked about its history and its place of origin. She's a noted textile revivalist, a research scholar, designer, and author. She has written 5 cookbooks, 2 of which won international awards. Besides this, she was given the Provost Award for Community Service and the Spark Award for Excellence in Journalism in the year 2018, and the Rotary Award for Social Repair in 2021. She is a chairperson founder of an NGO Udhavi based on elder care. Well, I think we can never have enough of Sabita ji. Her knowledge, which comes from her extensive research work, is so enlightening, with a connect of handlooms with her rich cultural heritage, that she on popular demand is with us again on Handloom Connects this evening. And it's a privilege to welcome her this evening to our session. Welcome, ma'am. Sabita ji, it is all yours from now on. Ma'am, I think you are on mute. Unmute yourself, ma'am.
We forget the basics. Like in the old days, we used to say, please switch off your mobiles. Now you have to say mute and then unmute. We have to get used to it. Anyway, Sharmishra, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And I can see that your heart beats for the weaver also. So thank you everyone for inviting me, WICCI and Sakina in particular. Always sort of, she's encouraging and me to share my knowledge, and it's always a pleasure to be on this platform. Yeah. So in my previous talk on Handloom Day, I had talked about the history and the place of origin and the Raja who made the Kodali Karupur so popular. But this will be a lot more interesting to people who want to get their teeth into it. So let me just say that on this journey of mine, my textile journey for over the past 40 years, I have mingled with the weavers, sat with them, eaten with them, listened to their stories, felt their angst, and yeah, as I say, I could understand why they were in a state of penury, because they felt they were not getting enough wages for the immense effort that they put in to create the fabrics which we sometimes so carelessly wear and criticize. So those days I was on commercial enterprise. I had my own boutique, and there was little I could do to, promote them beyond a certain point. But I always vowed that should I get a chance, and once I start doing my volunteer work with them, I will definitely try to help at least some of them to have a sustainable livelihood. And I'm glad that God has given me this opportunity to do so. Even if I've just scratched the surface, at least I don't feel guilty that I've sat with, just looking after my own interests. Then I have this passion for revival. I always feel that we have such precious craft and textiles in our country, and it is so foolish that we just let it go. We are not willing to hold on to it. We are not proud of it, some of us. We take it for granted. And so I feel that these skills should not be lost to us. Now, for instance, at one time, even the Paithani sari was in danger of extinction. I'm talking about, say, maybe 15 years ago. But luckily, some handloom activists got together, and now it is enjoying a very different status. Then about 8 or 9 years ago, it was the Korvai sari. And I was aghast because you could get a Korvai sari anywhere. And suddenly it went out. Even in Kalakshetra, where I was working, the looms were empty because we couldn't get the weavers to weave those. And I tell you, this is a problem that our country faces, both with craft and the weavers and the artisans, because what is happening is their children are straying to new pastures, and they're getting corporate jobs because they are better paid, and also it gives them a certain amount of status. So that is a problem that I, as a handloom activist, a craft activist, I'm trying to, I'm trying to fill that lacuna and make sure that they get the wages that are rightfully, due to them. So Odali Karpur, how did that come about? Now, let me first start my slides, then you can visually see